To understand what is happening in the world, you need to be willing to re-understand yourself. Willingness itself is somewhat tenuous. You have to invest in your intention to believe. Your investment is something that gets multiple opportunities to backtrack. It's sort of like, are you sure? Are you sure? And you have to say, I'm ready. Yes! Yes! If this was something that could fall all in one moment based on one momentary choice, it would fall too easily. Your preparation for the moments of choice has everything to do with how you will choose. And make no mistake, moments occur within your life where you get to choose whether to wake or to go back to sleep. The truth of this is devastating. It tears apart what you have known and exposes you to a much broader range of reality. In order to embrace this broader range of reality, you must allow who you have known yourself to be to die. From within the experience, it feels like death. After the experience, it feels a lot more like awakening. The story that you wake into is broad. We are extremely aware of the multiple ranges of experience that people are prepared for. Thus, multiple aspects of what is occurring on planet Earth are essentially mass distractions. They enable a broad range of attention to be channeled into specific and focused details that are ultimately inconsequential. Now, please understand that we waste nothing. Where your attention grows, you participate in making life. And thus, in order to distract you in a way that is functional, we essentially encourage you to believe in the grass. And as you do, it grows. And we get you to focus your belief in a manner that is actually functional. You believe in grass where we want it to grow. However, you are in a world that contains multiple levels of balance where people are essentially leaning against each other. And because you are addicted to the support of this leaning, the script allows you to learn how to focus your attention in a manner that ultimately enables love between people you hate. Now, make no mistake, this hatred to you has been something that has been rather consistent. The consistency of your resentment of other groups of people has essentially functioned as a way to lean into them. And by leaning together, the earth is ultimately creating something that is composed of the force that you both create, pitted against each other. This is not to say that all investments are ultimately equal. In many ways, some beings are far less evolved than others, and yet they may be playing a role that you refuse to play based on your self-identity. This is a time of great transformation. The events that are unfolding will continue to open space for a broad range of new endeavors. The diseases of the past were directly related to the past. Viruses are alive. They are consciousness that seeks its job. In multiple ways, human beings have been too successful in maintaining life past the point of health. This is part of your free will, and people participate together in the opportunity to stay alive beyond the body's ultimate health. The current epidemic is an opportunity for many people to leave. This is not a fashionable opinion, and therefore I do not encourage you to push it on others. However, the truth is that ultimately everyone participates deeply in the big choices they make about when to leave and when to stay. And this is akin to a bell traveling through the cultures in which you live and suggesting that perhaps some people are ready to go. From the perspective of a life that does not embrace the broader story and spirit beyond this lifetime, multiple incarnations, and a universe full of life, this is a very traumatic threat. If you choose to remain within this perspective, you will suffer greatly. I invite you further. Ultimately, everyone's health is entirely dependent on the multiple ranges of pressures that you engage. To the extent that you are wasting your life force, zeroing a multiple range of forces, you do not have excess energy prepared to contend with new challenges. This is energetic investment. How are you investing your life force? Where are you wasting your life force? How can you change these dynamics? At a time of great threat, it is beholden upon all of you to stare deeply into the choices you are making and to allow yourself to scrutinize them much more carefully. It is extremely tempting to set aside forces from the past that you seem to have transcended. However, if you have left them behind in a manner that wastes your energy and forces you to expend excess spirit every day, it is a good idea to stare at things you thought you'd left behind, transform your relationship to them, and be free, be full, be much more empowered to face the engagements of the future. Because ultimately, challenges such as viruses free people to make new choices. This is a time when the world shuts down. You are all being given a pause. A dramatic change in the overall influences upon your cultures provides the opportunity for many new people to make new choices. You are new. You are new in this time because you are embracing the opportunities that have been latent and yet existed quietly, unfulfilled. If you would like to embrace them, you may. Furthermore, multiple entities that exist within your market economies are set to leave. Make no mistake, they each have a life force of their own, and their deaths bring great freedom to the rest of the world. The world has existed in a wide range of balances, and far more than you have understood, the earth herself has taken your pain. In multiple ways, at multiple times, violence, rage, and hatred that have been pitted against each other. Two communities, two cultures that have hated each other and have often warred to the death, have been coaxed into new relationships by the shared opportunity they both gain by channeling their energy into the earth. And make no mistake, the earth herself has taken this pain in effort to create this opportunity for greater love. If you choose to proceed into the future with this in mind, a deep gratitude becomes your starting point. You awaken into the realization that the earth herself has taken your pain. Indeed, she knows what to do with it. She does use it. And yet the extraordinary pain and suffering of the death of whatever gets destroyed as the pain of humanity slams through the living ecosystems is not something you can adequately ignore. By becoming present to the deaths and being grateful to the way in which they create space for you to thrive, you are ushered this much further into the love of this world. Every being, as you awaken, are provided with opportunities to live more graciously, with deeper appreciation and more vibrancy. That is the greatest gift and the ultimate payment that you receive by caring. Further into the future, there will be worse devastations. The economic collapses that lie ahead of you are purposeful. If you encounter them with fear, move further on. There are opportunities that wait that could not exist without the removal of these forces. It is a careful attention that will guide you to recognize what is dying and what is being born. And to the extent you shift your attention, your respect, and your hope to the new life, you will not only make it through this time well, you will thrive. You will be fed by the same forces that your attention follows. Therefore, it is up to you where you choose to focus. To the extent that you focus with great strength and allow others to trust you, you may not need to explain what is happening. Even as you learn to understand and trust these dynamics, others may trust you simply because you are vibrant. They will choose to hold what they see and what they sense in your life, and they will be sparked to simple focus that aligns them with a new reality. And indeed, it is a fundamental turning point. It is a fundamental turning point that hearkens wonders well beyond your understanding. The great shift of this story has not simply been foretold, it has been built in. The grand analogy is simple. You have brought to this planet the density that you cannot carry well in space. By bringing it here, you bring the darkness. You burn it. You transform it. You compost it. There are many levels of transformation that occur with the energy that is brought. If you imagine mass numbers of spirits bringing density, compost, shit, garbage, recycling, and it gets sorted, it rots, it burns. And there is an end to this process. The grand gift of a universal garden is that compost transforms in the cold, transforms still further as it warms, and then creates the soil for new life. It is up to you to embrace participation in this new life. You are invited to embrace the love that is prepared to grow. And it is up to you to choose the role you play in this new garden. Violence transforms. Pain and suffering that have been normal disappear. It sounds utopian to you because you have existed within a perspective where such things are impossible. And yet, you are shifting from fueling your life force based in the dark. You have been shrouded, you have been veiled. The truth has been hidden from you, and you have been asleep, living in the lie. As a result, the only life force available to you has been akin to mushrooms that grow in the dark caves. As the light peeks through, you make the shift spiritually, intellectually, and physically to fueling your life force from light. This bears out in your economies. the technology which helps you create light within what has been a cave of darkness, shifts its source from the dark to the light. Oil gradually becomes passé. You let go of burning the darkness and using it as your fuel. And as you do, unbeknownst to you, the grandest transformation is nearing completion. The mass of density that the spirits involved in shaping humanity brought to this story has almost completed its transformation. This is a finite process, and as it nears its ending, you get to watch this garden grow. Now, in order to trust these changes, you must limit yourself to the focus that is available to you. Do not attempt to demand answers that don't make sense yet. It is not possible to embrace reality much further than you are capable of settling yourself. And to the extent that you struggle to go further than you are unprepared to embrace, trust that something in you is telling you to slow down. And to the extent you respect this hesitation within yourself, you will actually contend with the forces that hold you back more gracefully, more quickly, and thus open to a much more beautiful version of the truth. Pushing to see around the bend creates terror. It rips apart your reality prematurely and often fries your circuits to the point where you can't even enjoy a daily breath. Do not push to the extent that you hurt yourself and then can't continue to walk. Your overall progress will be much slower. And then refocus on what is around you. A dance can replace a punch. When you recognize within yourself the ways in which you have been hateful, resentful, even violently angry, you can learn to recognize and feel those forces once they have been stilled. In most human beings, you have been forced to still such intensities in order to live in this era. The eras of the past, of past lifetimes in which you have existed, created these forces and then forced you to silence them, to still them. And you, unbeknownst to you, have been charged with keeping these forces still your entire life. As they awaken, it is up to you to contend with the seeming chaos and learn to channel it, because ultimately, this is a force that teaches you how to spin around a threat, to flip over a threat, and to embrace the vibrant life and the trust that as you become more adept at moving around threats, you open yourself to new dimensions of experience. The very act of intending to transcend violence as a way of being turns you into something that is well beyond what you could imagine before you try. You must commit to loving this. When your mind fails you, refocus on the art. The language in which you exist is full of intentional puns. It is devastating for you to recognize that evolution is sort of a lie. Now, to be clear, linear history does exist, but it does not exist in the manner you suppose. In so many ways, it was written by us. We have tended this story on purpose. We have maintained its focus, and we have planted seeds within these times that draw transformations within society towards them. It is closer to the script of a play than anything else you can understand at first. And yet it is much more enjoyable because it contains so much surprise. We have scripted a play with magnetic focus. Many major changes have been foretold. They're foretold because they're written. They're in the structure of the forces that guide the human race. Thus, languages themselves are not random. They did not evolve because people used words carelessly and dramatic focus shifts based on random factors that cannot be measured. We have seeded the meaning of words since the moment human beings learned to use words. And as such, the humor within the revelations of how the language works are part of shifting your focus to trust what is happening. You have the ability to respond to these changes. It is your responsibility to embrace what you can do to love this life well, and your constant return to embracing what is in front of you, to embracing this breath, to embrace the body you are in, to embrace whatever form of art from your heart feeds you. Art is the eternal medicine in these times. It allows you to contend with feelings and channel what has been volatile violence into passionate expression. It is the challenge to both feel and restrain great intensities that allows you to transcend the need to repress deep feelings, to trust your capacity to move through deep feelings, to shape this trust in forms that can be shared, which not only heals you and channels you through transformations, but puts you in a position to help others do so as well. As you heal yourself, you heal others. This is a time when art transcends career, where everyone on the planet will be moving into an era where you have more time to focus your attention on artistic creation. As you commit yourself to this desire, the desire to embrace this drive beyond the consequences that the world presents you with, you will receive the support you need to be given the time to focus in this way. You are tasked to transform energy not only for yourself, but for your community and the earth. And if you embrace this challenge without fiercely demanding you understand what will happen, you will open to the ways in which the earth sets you up to thrive. And so, I give you this. You are invited to participate more deeply. You are paid with a vibrant and increasingly beautiful experience of being alive. Make no mistake, the most catatonic oligarch who buys the most expensive foods on the planet will not enjoy those foods half as much as you. You will receive a much deeper experience by eating the food that you cherish in your own garden, by tasting the beautiful creations of people you learn to meet around you. And it is the depth of your experience itself that is most crucial and fundamental to honor and embrace. If you can learn to trust that this is the way the world works, if you can surrender your addiction to finite measurements, to things that can be compared, you will receive a much deeper invitation into this beautiful life.